Welcome to a new episode of the Rebel Radio Podcast, and I'm not introducing myself today. We always introduce ourselves, but people think we know who we are by now.
You know why we're here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of the tropes of doing the same freaking thing every week.
Hello.
But Long, the evil Dr. Tran, is back. Now it's officially a winning streak.
Yes.
Is it? Yes.
It's 3 in a row.
Three in a row.
Dude, that's...
3-peat.
That's right.
3-peat.
Yeah.
And more to come.
Yes.
And, and we're glad for that.
Unless it's a wrestling pay-per-view night, which is once a month.
Yes.
Just to throw that out there. Hey, look, I'm paying $10 a month for that service. I want to watch it live. I'm sorry, that's just my rule.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
At least until WrestleMania is done with. And then I don't think I have any reason to watch it after WrestleMania. So.
I will be nice. I won't say anything about wrestling. I only give Frank a hard time about wrestling, and that's
someone's got to carry the wrestling.
Well, mostly because he buys into it. Like, oh man, can you believe that Kevin Hart did this and all this? And I'm like, Frank, it's all staged. And he's like, oh no, man, this was real. And I'm like, Frank, it's all staged, and that's why I make fun of him for it, because it's one thing to enjoy it for what it is entertainment, like you do.
Yeah.
But when you start getting passionate about it and buying into it, like it's real sports, like baseball or football, it's like, dude, it's not real, man. Yeah. Matt's been there; he's witnessed it before with Frank. Yeah. It's like
for me, I watch it because it's like live action martial arts. There's no repeat, and they're trying to entertain a whole 360-degree field. They're not entertaining just like one. How theater people they just focus on one side of the performance while the audience is watching you from one side.
Yeah.
Well, the ring is a 360. The whole arena is watching, so they have to do it live, and they will make mistakes, and I don't know, it's just hard to do. They make it look easy.
I mean, there was a time I was really into it. I've been to Raw's War, sat up close, SmackDown right behind the announcers. I've been to WrestleMania at the Dome. So I had my time in my life. It's just something that I chose not to be as into. But if you were into it, hey, to each their own. Everybody has their thing.
I'm into too many things, honestly.
We all probably are.
Yeah.
I told Jake that he was named after Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
And he's like, really? And I was like, no.
No.
He's like, who's Jake the Snake Roberts? And so I asked Alexa. And I was like, see, he was really a wrestler. He's like, whoa.
Dude, my Alexa just went off when you said her name.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake Roberts was an American WWE wrestler.
That is true. So how's y'all's week been?
So far, so good. Replaced a water heater. I adulted.
That's freaking hard work, isn't it, to be an adult?
Did you do it yourself?
I did it myself, and I did not know that an empty water heater was that heavy.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I did it.
From the roof?
No, not from the roof.
Attic,
No, not
Did you get it inspected?
In the garage.
Oh,
Did you call the city guy to come look at the gas company?
No.
You're supposed to do that, right?
For real?
No, honestly, it can void your warranties on your house.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
Oh, because if you don't...
you didn't do it right, and you cause an explosion?
Yeah.
So you might want to call the gas company to come look at it.
I use Teflon tape.
Yeah, but... No, seriously. I'm really serious.
Yeah, that's
fair. Hey, you might want to call the gas company and come look at it. They'll tell you on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people don't know that. It's a small thing. So,
the
whole thing's hard work, man. It's easy to want to sit around, like, play PlayStation or Xbox all day, but sometimes you gotta do shit.
Yeah.
It's
true. I did spend a lot of time on Xbox.
Did I adult this week other than taking care of the kids? I mean, I went to work. That's adulting.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had taxes taken out of your paycheck?
That's
adulting.
Yeah. Went to the eye doctor, got new contacts, so
there we go.
That was good,
Hopefully Mary
My roommate got a double whammy of, like, the taxes.
Yeah.
Harris County plus whatever. And then, but he was only living in the house for just 2 months.
Oh, wow.
And they gave him the full year's worth.
Serious?
Yeah.
That can't be right.
Yeah.
It's got to appeal it.
Yeah.
And, they do some weird things. Next Tuesday, I have to, this Tuesday, in a couple of days, the day I'll probably release the episode, I have to go to court for the car accident I was in almost 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It said I failed to miss a court date, which I never got a ticket saying it says in their failure to control speed. So hopefully I'm here for next week's show. They don't put me in jail or something. I don't think they will. I'm going to plead not guilty because I don't feel it's my fault. So I think what I was reading most cases is if the judge has time, he'll hear me out right then. If he doesn't, he may tell me I have to come back for a small jury, or something.
Considering you missed out on the previous appearance, that may not look good on your part.
I know. I'm going to plead to him that I didn't know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see
you
how.
Never got a notification.
Yeah. So hopefully I'm here.
Yeah.
If not, It's been good knowing y'all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call your asses. Come bail me out of jail,
Sorry.
motherfuckers.
Sorry, I'm helping my friend out with this taxes.
It's like, damn it. But other than that, your week long, how's it been? All right.
It was all right. Was getting mentally drained at work, so I went to go watch Bumblebee on Thursday night.
Yeah. We will slow down. We'll talk about it and download this.
Yeah. We'll touch up on that later.
I can see you were like wanting to.
Well, yeah, and I just hung out with friends playing pool and
nice.
Eating some chicken wings afterwards at midnight. Yeah.
Well, I know.
Like a good time.
And getting my room finally 95% done.
From moving in,
building bookshelves, all that stuff.
Your man cave.
Yeah, now I'm waiting for all my wall art, which I've showed you one.
Nice.
Last week you told us you had a family gathering for your birthday.
Yeah.
And everything. And you said you only got like half a piece of cupcake.
Yeah.
So I have something small to go to your man cave. I found this amongst my things.
Oh,
man.
Hey,
dude,
thank you.
That's for you. It's a Godzilla comic for this is an audio medium, so people can't see it. And the evil Dr. Tran is a Godzilla expertise.
I am.
And I didn't want to not be empty-handed, so...
Oh, my God.
I brought you a polo from work.
Oh,
that sounds exciting. It's a Godzilla comic.
No,
but
I love Coca-Cola.
There we go.
Coca-Cola gave me diabetes, but I love Coca-Cola. It's like, you gave me diabetes, Coca-Cola, but... how can I keep hating you?
That would have been more interesting if you went into a rage because I just sparked your diabetes and you just started strangling me.
You made me think that I take my medicine, but I did. I was like, I did take it earlier. So I was like, wait, did I take my medicine? Because you gotta forget sometimes.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Because I was like, it's not fair that you only got a cupcake, and it's like, I mean, as we get older, we don't get much on our birthday.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I mean, usually, what? I'm working most of the time, But now that I'm a dad, I like, because Father's Day is on a Sunday, that's kind of my day. Mary will make breakfast and cook for me, and I usually watch movies. But I usually do go to a movie around my birthday. That's what I like to do, That's why we talk movies on the podcast. And speaking of movies, let's get into today's show, because I don't really have anything else to talk about. Sometimes in the pre-show we talk about random things, but I don't really have anything. Nothing's been, ever since Santa being gender neutral, there's really been nothing that's chatting my ass lately,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's been kind of slow.
Let's all just pray that the Patriots don't make it to the Super Bowl this year.
I want somebody different, man.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for the Saints and Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for it.
Saints and Chiefs. That would be a good matchup.
The old school Drew Brees versus the new school Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
And see what happens. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And see if the old man Drew has one more in him. Before and he can retire going out on top. That'd be pretty sweet.
Do you think he would?
I think he would. I think if he wins one, I think that's it. He only signed a 1-year deal for a reason.
Rams are a tough team.
Yeah, but they beat him once in the regular season. So
here's the thing: it's like whenever you won against a team, you don't really look at what you have to work on. Whenever you've lost, there's a lot of things that you can adjust versus whenever you win. I mean, granted, we're talking about Sean Payton, so. I expect he would.
It says the guy who lost Super Bowl in our fantasy football league. Oh, I had to throw a shot either.
I actually lost 2 Super Bowls. I lost one in a PPR league.
Okay, in that case, let Sean Payton stick to.
Yeah, but yeah, either way, I'll be happy. I mean, we were talking earlier, and I think 2 legends going against each other would be fun. But I think Breeze versus Mahomes would be really cool too.
I'm just tired of the Patriots going every year. It's time for some new blood in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
Well, if Tom Brady wins, he'd retire, so that's a plus.
Maybe.
Think?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Nah. He likes that money.
True.
He's got to pay all his rich model wife,
That's
all
true.
the money she needs.
Stay-at-home wife.
That's right.
Giselle.
All right, well, let's get into the show today. We always start the show with Download This, where we tell you what we streamed, watched, played, checked out this week, and no porno, Matt. Remember, keep it family friendly.
Sorry. Gotcha.
Just in case,
Yeah.
So what have you guys watched? I know me and Lombo went to the movies and saw a certain movie, not at the same time or anything, but we did. So we're gonna have that talk about. So you can start today, Matt. What have you watched and downloaded this week?
I beat Destiny 2, the story mode on Xbox One.
Do you feel accomplished?
Excited. I feel accomplished.
Yeah.
This guy was like, souped up. He had taken the Traveler's Light for himself, and I had to take him down. Yeah.
Do you still, Long, you play a lot of games, too. Do you still, like, get that sense of accomplishment when you finish a game like we did when we were younger?
Man.
Certain games.
The last time I felt that way was finishing God of War.
Yeah. See, that's how, like, when I finished The Last of Us on PS3, I haven't finished the remastered version, but when I finished it, I felt like a sense of real accomplishment and relief because the game involves you so much as a player because it's such a cinematic experience. And I've heard God of War's like that, too. They feel like in The Last of Us, I feel like I went on this journey with Joel and Ellie to survive. So you feel like a sense of accomplishment. But then I can play a game like... I can't think of like Metal Gear Solid, and you don't feel that. You're like, oh, that's cool, I beat it. Yeah. But there's certain games that give you that experience.
I think it's got to have a really good story.
Yeah.
But Diablo 2, like you said, The Last of Us, Resident Evil, like the early Resident Evil ones, like Resident Evil 2. How cool is it to beat William Birkin at the end? I mean, that's just there's certain games where that gives you that feeling. Like I think I beat Gunsmoke once ever. And I was just like, yes!
Well, there's people out there that play games all the time. There's a guy at work who listens to the show, Ronnie. He plays a lot of games, but he's at home. He works overnight. So I imagine for him, accomplishing games not as big of a deal. For me, sometimes it's a big deal because I don't play as many games and I don't have as much time. So I'm like, that's cool. I finally beat a game,
But I was proud. And then I didn't watch a movie, but I bought tickets for next week. Dragon Ball Super Broly. Limited release, one night only, AMC 24, 7:30 at night. And I guess Frank thought, I guess I said something to Frank about wanting to go with him, or possibly if it came to town.
Oh, did you hurt his feelings?
And he mentioned on my post whenever I said this is going to be our first movie of 2019.
I saw your post.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I told someone a long time ago we could go see it together, but hint, hint.
He's been like putting his foot in mouth, dude. I posted. Have y'all seen this thing on Facebook where your aging post, your first profile pic?
Yeah, you did that too.
I did one today, and he goes, "Oh, what? You cut me out of the picture because you thought I was going to upstage you?" He wasn't even in the picture I cut. It was my friend Mark was in the picture with me, so I was like, "Get your foot out of your mouth, dude." I was like, so he's done that a couple times this week. I saw him respond to your post too.
Yeah,
so
man.
Oh well.
I feel like the older I get, the less I'm inclined to to play games.
Yeah.
But I have been reading a lot more, a lot of history books, which I feel like when I learn something that I'm really interested in, then I'm not wasting time.
Yeah.
In a way. But a wise man once told me that time enjoying whatever you love is never time wasted.
Yeah.
So
that's
there you go.
Good advice.
That is.
Yeah.
If Frank were here and he was going to say a wise man once said, he'd probably follow it up with, "He who stands on toilet is high on pot."
All right.
And I'd be like, okay.
Okay. Double decker there?
Yeah.
I mean, upper decker?
Upper decker.
I've never seen that movie.
And I'm like, wow, Pong said something enlightening. I was not expecting it. I've been used to jokes.
Right. But, what else did you...
Oh, that's about it for me, really.
Yeah, you should definitely check out God of War. I think you will relate to Kratos.
He didn't buy a PS4 though.
Oh,
he's an Xbox guy.
Yeah.
Well,
Mark, if you ever get a chance to play God of War, there's no cursing.
I'm gonna hopefully get to it. Yeah, I want to play it. I heard it's really good things about it. I need to finish some games first, which might take me a year. But I'm moving along in Spider-Man. I'm at 55%, so I'm getting there.
There we go.
That's a fun game.
Yeah, it's a hell of a fun game.
And now you know that when you finish that mission, you get the Spider-Verse costume.
I know that dude. There's some dude on this movie addiction Facebook group that spoiled the DLC for me. And I'm like, dude, don't spoil shit.
The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man suit's in it now.
Yeah. Well, that was just free when they gave it to everybody. It was just they released it. But yeah, it's a fun game. I know we watched the same movie. We're going to talk about it in a minute. But I did see. I rented Searching, which has been making a lot of top 10 lists this year. It might get some nominations for award season and all that. I wasn't as high on as everyone else. My wife hated it. She thought it was stupid. It's very gimmicky. It's all shot through FaceTime, computer screens, social media. The world we live in, so it's an interesting concept. I did like that part of it. There's a twist at the end of the film I didn't see coming, which was that part I liked. But overall, you kind of you watch it, and I don't understand really. I think the critics and people bought into the gimmicks of it, and they think, oh, this is a really good movie. And it is a good movie, but it's not a great movie. I saw it on a lot of top 10 lists. I think when I put my favorite movies of 2018 on Facebook, I even mentioned I hadn't seen Searching yet. This probably wouldn't make my top 10. It's entertaining, but are you going to remember it after you watch it? Maybe for a day or two, but you're not going to remember it forever. John Chow's really good in it. He's excellent in the film. He's come a long way from Harold and Kumar to be quite a good actor. Is it worth watching? Yeah, I'd rent it. I'd rent it for a couple bucks. It's a neat gimmicky idea the way it's shot, and it makes you think about the way social media is perceived and the way we assume things about people because of what they say on Facebook or Twitter or something like that.
Gone Girl did a good job of that too.
And it's a lot of similarities to that. And the other thing it made me think as I'm watching it, my kids are never going to fucking use social media. I'm like, no way, especially my daughter. You're staying away from that after watching this movie.
Exactly. I still, notable movies, I still think about Annihilation. It's a slow-paced movie.
I saw it's on Hulu too.
Chris Pratt?
No, it's Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, Helen Hunter.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? Wasn't it like
with
Nicole Kidman or something?
There was a Chris Pratt with Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
What was that science fiction movie? That was kind of forgettable. People.
Oh yeah.
Arrival? Was it
No. I know what you're talking about too.
Arrival had Amy Adams.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out the alien language.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah. Chris Pratt did something. He is one of those movies he did after post Guardians World where he signed on to a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't really done anything. That's
Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jurassic
Which
World.
I did enjoy that. The second one, not so much.
Yeah.
The first one was fun.
Yeah.
So, besides the movie we both saw, you were reading, you said, but we both saw Bumblebee. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I saw Bumblebee this morning, and Matt, when was the last time you went to the theater, dude? You've been really slacking on
Big
movies.
time.
You used to see more than me.
Yeah, the last one I saw was Incredibles 2, I think.
Wow,
That's
that was
a great
like
movie,
June.
actually.
Yeah.
I like that
Was that
movie.
June?
Yeah, it was June.
Late June.
That was wild.
Gotta be longer than that.
It's mid-June.
That was mid-June it came out.
Did you see Venom, though?
Yeah, but I bought Venom. Oh, you know what? I went to the Showboat, and there was a double feature going on. And if I wanted to go to the other side of the theater, I could, or the other lot at Showboat, I could have seen Halloween and Venom.
Yeah.
But my wife wanted to see the Nutcracker.
Oh, I'm sorry. She cracked your nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I went and took in Bumblebee this morning. You saw it a few days ago, you said. Man, as a older generation than you, Matt, for me, there's moments in this movie that just had me giddy as could be.
Yeah.
Just
Cybertron.
smiling. Cybertron, Generation 1 Optimus, Shockwave, Soundwave, Ravager, Cliff Jumper.
Nice.
That just had me go, wow, that's freaking cool as hell.
They're all Generation 1 classic designs.
Yeah, and it makes you want a Generation 1 full-on movie. But the rest of the movie is a lot of fun, too. This is arguably the best live-action Transformers movie.
Yes,
I mean,
I agree.
Better than the first Transformers?
Yeah, it's a little less action.
The story is a lot better.
Okay.
The characters are a lot better because there's only a few you have to keep track.
Yeah.
The action, it's not as good. It's not as eye popping as the.
Yeah,
first
I mean,
Transformers.
but you can see what's going on, unlike the Michael Bay stuff where you weren't sure what's going on.
Yeah, I can always say more entertaining doesn't trump a better movie. You know, there are movies that are better, but
it's
aren't
more
as entertaining.
heartfelt.
Yeah. Oh, it's got a lot of heartfelt and emotion in it, which
Yeah.
there are aspects of the movie that I connected with due to losing my father, and this movie definitely connects me with there.
That's something I hadn't considered.
Yeah, Haley Stanfield is fantastic. Why she's not doing more films is beyond me. She's been great since True Grit.
Yeah.
She's truly a precious treasure of a young actress that hopefully gets better roles because she owns this movie. And that's one thing the Transformers movies lacked. You didn't give a shit about you didn't give a shit about Shia LaBeouf or Megan Fox.
Whoa. Don't say we didn't give a shit about Megan Fox.
I'm not talking about her looks. I'm talking about their character.
Oh, okay.
You didn't care. You didn't care what happened to Mark Wahlberg's character. Her, you go on this journey with her, and you care about her.
Okay.
And she's a really well written character, and she's not stupid. She's not just thrown into these situations and like bumbles along with it like Shia did. You know, there's a reason for it. There's still some tropes in it, like the human characters doing some things they shouldn't do without thinking, but they do it anyway. But that's just this kind of movie, and it has nothing to do with being a Transformers movie. That's any kind of action movie.
I thought John Cena was really good in this movie,
Cena does fine. He hams it up a little bit, but it fits his character.
Yeah.
I was really pleasantly surprised. It doesn't drag on like the other Transformers movies. It's almost 3 hours. It's a solid 2 hours, but it's paced well.
Dude, that red Transformers, Ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
Shatter.
Yeah.
Voiced by Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's whose voice was. Trying to pick up when I was watching it.
That was a stone cold Transformer Decepticon.
It is a prequel, but also a reboot. Like they give you things that explain why Bumblebee's there, but I can see how they can easily reboot from here. We can totally ignore the other films, and it'll be easy to do.
Yeah. It's definitely a family movie.
Oh yeah.
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 So I felt like I wasn't the target demographic.
Yeah, it's definitely a little more family friendly than the other ones, but I was okay with that. I took my boys to see it, and
did they enjoy it?
Yeah, they enjoy it. Wyatt was out there. He's almost 4 years old, and he didn't move for 2 hours, and he even went a couple of times. Was getting into it.
That's a good sign.
Because he really enjoyed it. But just seeing Optimus, Generation 1 Optimus on screen, that was worth the price of admission alone. I mean, that's like a fan's dream come true all these years.
Yeah.
And hopefully, it hasn't done a lot at the box office.
No, it's
a little over 100 million. It's been a little slower compared to the trends.
It's 300 now.
Is it worldwide though? Or
now it is.
Yeah.
It just debuted in China last weekend.
I'm hoping it does well enough to get
It will.
to continue on these films. And there's no more Michael Bay. I think Travis Knight did a good job with the direction of this and the way he directed it.
Yeah, the Paramount president the other day said that it's profitable now.
That's good.
The sequel is likely.
Because, the Transformers characters are generationally, wide, across generations, across the world, very popular. So there's room for more of these movies, and people can say what they want about the Michael Bay films. You love them or you hate them. At least we got live action Transformers films, and it's led to this, to a really good movie with Bumblebee, and hopefully it leads to more, because they're great characters.
Didn't we all see that movie together? Didn't we all see the first Transformers?
We might have years ago. I want to say we did at Tinseltown.
Yeah, because I remember driving home and like looking at cars differently.
Yeah, I think we did go see it all at Tinseltown.
Seeing cars transform on the big screen. I was driving by and I'm like, I feel really weird looking at vehicles right now.
Yeah, they're good characters, and Paramount's been able to at least make them profitable, make films. They can't seem to do G.I. Joe the right way, but yet they can make Transformers films that are successful.
Because they need more Channing Tatum. That's why.
Is that what they need? More Channing Tatum?
There's right before I came over to record, I was watching a video of a special edition Megatron masterpiece. Mm-hmm. It's a reproduction of the Generation 1 Megatron, the handgun and everything. And it's by 20% bigger than the original. Yeah. So it's an actual pistol. It's the size of a pistol. And it has more transforming mechanisms than the original. But it looks like the cartoon accurate.
Right. That's cool.
And, dude, it was like at least 40 to 50 steps.
Wow.
Because it had more panels, more switches, more. Yeah, it was like a Transformer intensive.
That's cool.
It was like a 20-minute long video, and half of it was spent watching this guy trying to transform this thing.
When I was watching it, and this is minor spoiler territory, did you feel that, I felt like they could have had a Rogue One Vader type moment at the end with Bumblebee, where they could have had Optimus show up on Earth at the last minute and maybe save him. Yeah. But then at the same time, it would have been a Bumblebee movie if they did that. I think that's why they didn't. But I did feel like, man, they missed the mark there. They could have had Optimus come in and just kick ass and save Bumblebee.
That's what the sequel's for,
right? But it still worked on a lot of levels.
I hope she returns, Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, she was really good.
I used to have this one.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the one that I had for a long time.
The tank one,
I gave it away to my cousins because I decided at one point that I was too old for toys. Mm-hmm. And I was going to stick with my gaming system. I had an N64 and a PS2 at the time, and I gave them all to my cousin. I regret giving some of those away.
Yeah. It was but yeah, Bumblebee, man, go see if you haven't. I think a lot of people unfortunately might have dismissed this as like they didn't need a Transformers spinoff. But Michael Bay has not touched this thing. It's a different director. It's funny. It's like for That's cool. It's like four company. You notice at the beginning of the film, it's like 4 different studios financed this movie too.
Really?
So it was like I noticed there was like 4 Paramount logo, then like 3 other studios. So I think that
one of them was definitely Chinese.
Yeah, so it helped get the movie made. But a good film. Man. Any other thoughts you had on Bumblebee? Really?
I really liked definitely everything you touched up upon. But I wish I had like a kid to bring with me to watch it. I would have probably enjoyed it more. But I enjoyed it for what it is, and I got my money's worth from it. And I probably give it a B+, A-.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun movie though.
Yeah. Solid movie. No big plot holes that jumped out to me, and it's just a fun, non-cynical movie,
Yeah.
So
with some great Transformer moments in it that fans have been waiting for.
E.T., but with a Transformer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any other final things on download this before we get into today's movie? I think that's it.
I'm done.
That's all I've watched really this week. So this week's featured movie is we're going back to 1987. Talking Brian DePalma directed The Untouchables, and this movie I hadn't seen it in quite a long time. It's good. It's good. It's a little differently paced compared to today's action films.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's differently paced for even a 1987 film.
Mm-hmm.
Brian De Palma did things that directors weren't doing at the time. A lot of long shots that go through hallways, things like that. A lot of tension building shots that were so. He was he made Scarface a few years before this, which has become a cult classic, and he made this. And it's funny, his 2 biggest successful films are both based off television shows, this and Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
They did in 96. But, the first time I probably saw this was, early 90s. I think I remember watching it on video or whatever, and didn't think much of it at the time. But I've seen it on TV throughout the years here and there, and this is the first time I had really sat down and watched it in a long time. And I still think it holds up well today. But there are some things that don't hold up as well today, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So when did y'all first see The Untouchables?
This is my first time watching it from beginning to end, and I always before that I always caught it in the middle of something, but for some reason every time I see it on TV or run into it on TV, it's always the scene of Sean Connery dying.
No, man.
And that's the reason why I haven't
to the gunfight.
Yeah. That's the reason why I haven't watched it, is because I always end up running in, like, switching channels, and I see Sean Connery pulling himself across the floor in a bloody mess.
Peter Weller getting shot up like Peter Weller in friggin' RoboCop.
Admittedly, when I reached that scene, it's like, I've seen that scene so many times, I skipped that part. I know what happens there.
Dude, the gun violence in that scene is pretty brutal.
It was.
Yeah.
You just feel those shots coming through them.
Yeah, this movie was considered very violent for 1987, of course. And it's the same year, like you mentioned RoboCop, the same year RoboCop, it came out in theaters. Yeah. But this was there, too.
It was a good movie overall. Great movie, actually. Not good.
Same as Long. It's my dad really likes this movie, and because he just loves westerns and old school crime drama stuff. And every time I turned it on or saw it on, it was the stairwell scene at the train station, which is really cool, and another adaptation that was taken from another movie way back, that Brian De Palma was inspired by. But
Naked Gun 33 and the Third.
Yeah, they did that too. There was like 2 other films that spoofed it too, I want to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, great scene.
That's a famous scene.
But I really just wasn't able to watch it from beginning to end. Just bits and pieces. And like you said, just flip the channel, it would be here, or my dad would have it on at some point.
Yeah. And it's got a really great cast. Kevin Costner stars in it as Eliot Ness, and for him, this was still kind of an early role for him. He hadn't really done anything big at this point. He had a couple of small parts in movies. I read the biggest thing he did was something I forgot, but this was like his first big role. And Robert, and he's going with Robert De Niro and Sean Connery. These guys that have been doing a lot of films for a lot of times. De Niro had already won an Oscar at this point. Sean Connery, of course, was famous for playing James Bond and all that. And Brian De Palma went through everyone in Hollywood, it felt like, to who he wanted to play Eliot Ness.
Yeah.
From Nick Nolte to the studio really wanted Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
but he turned it down.
Man, can you imagine?
And and
he was too old, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, he was 87. He wouldn't have been too old, I guess.
This is kind of like how Seven was. It was successful, and it was like, everyone was like second picks. Like Sean Connery, I want to say that they wanted Pacino at first, right? For Connery.
I think I read that.
And then, for Al Capone, they wanted Kal-El. Why can't I?
Marlon Brando. They wanted Marlon Brando. Then
they were going to pay him $5 million.
Then he was going to have Bob Hoskins play Al Capone. Yeah, and he ended up going with De Niro, and and Kevin Costner was probably one of the last choices, and the studio wasn't sure, and they were luckily that Robert De Niro signed on because they didn't know how they were going to sell this film with just Kevin Costner as a star because he wasn't a known name at the time.
Yeah,
and De Niro helped the movie become more of a bigger name. And Sean Connery, it's funny, he won an Oscar for this, for Best Supporting Actor. It's the only Oscar and only nomination he ever got throughout his historic career.
Yeah,
but he won for it, and he's really good in the movie as Malone.
Well overdue.
Yeah, he's definitely, in a way, the conscious of the film with the group of the Untouchables. He kind of keeps them in check. He helps Eliot Ness realize the right way to go about this. And the film does take some historical liberties, but it is a movie after all. Like, in reality, Al Capone never ordered any hits on any of his men, but his lieutenants did, and that's who, but they changed some of that in the movie. Yeah. His lieutenants ordered hits, but Al Capone never once gave hits because he knew it was too much trouble to actually kill these guys in real life. That would have brought down the thunder on him, and he was like, no, I'm not going to kill him, but it never kept his lieutenants from doing things.
Yeah, and that's true. Capone, he generally liked to stay away from the Untouchables, but he did reportedly try and bribe them.
Yeah,
and
many times.
Yeah, many times. And it just goes, you see throughout this movie, a lot of things are factually correct.
Yeah.
Just how deep the corruption went, like the references to the mayor and the note that his hitman, his lieutenant, has on him, saying, please grant this person, amnesty or the ability to carry this pistol.
The accountant character who died in the elevator scene.
Yeah.
That's inaccurate. The guy who came up with the idea of tax evasion.
Yeah.
He still lives. he was alive.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, to write the part of the memoirs about that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so the guy the character didn't die in real life.
Yeah, I read that too. And he fairly recently, before the movie was made, I think I read he died.
Yeah.
And then the guy who played Andy Garcia's character, Sergeant Wood, he may still be alive or close.
He was still alive.
He was a consultant on the film. Yeah. They did take some changes on that. Because they. I wonder why they did some of those changes.
Well, in the 80s, it was common.
Yeah.
For dramatic reasons.
Yeah. I guess so, because it kind of drove them. They realized that they could be touched. They weren't untouchable and everything. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
They needed that dramatic oomph.
Yeah,
Must be nice to have a family.
It's not really until recently that they cared more about historical accuracy. Yeah. In the heyday of the 80s, they didn't care.
Yeah, It was. You have the internet with people fact checking everything like they do now.
Yeah. But this one's fairly accurate.
Pretty close. Yeah,
very close. Yeah. I mean, the scene at the end, whenever the juries are flipped, that happened.
That really did happen.
Yeah.
But yet, Eliot Ness and Al Capone never once met each other face to face ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
No, they did happen. I read. I did some research after the movie. They did meet up, but it wasn't. It was only one time in the court.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
But not in the lobby scene.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And De Niro, he's this is classic De Niro in this film. Not the De Niro we've had in recent years where he's mailing it in. Let's be honest. De Niro kind of mails things in now. He doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
But back in the 70s and 80s, man, De Niro was very much a method actor. Like, he had the same tailors for Al Capone make his suit. He wore the same kind of underwear that Al Capone apparently wore.
Boxers.
Yeah,
he's like, I demand that silk touch my balls.
And he's really good. He's classic De Niro in this. He's a bit hammy, but from all historical aspects of this, that's how Capone was. He was a showman as much as he was a mobster and a gangster. He was also he played to the crowds, and the media loved him. Yeah. And they took that from historical accuracies too. The media, they bought into what he did back in the 1920s, and 30s with Prohibition. They liked it that this guy was going against the law and stuff because Prohibition wasn't popular. Regular
it was
people,
a bunch of Christians that got it passed.
Regular people didn't like it. They wanted their alcohol. They wanted their drink, and Capone was that savior for them that was going to give them their alcohol. So the media liked him.
Yeah, especially in that time when even though it was considered modern. You still didn't use the tap water for drinking.
Right.
and water with a little bit of light rum made it safer to drink.
Yeah.
So.
That's true.
Yeah.
And back then, it's like the liquor wasn't even that great. Like, it was very rough. That's why, at least the bootleg liquor. That's why mixed drinks became so popular back then because you just had to find a way to get it down.
Yeah.
It was so strong and kind of rough that you had to mix it with something. And, water probably lightened it up a bit.
Yeah, but for sanitary reasons, too. Tap water? No, you can't drink straight tap.
No.
And still, not a lot of homes had electricity to warm it up, except for coal.
I really like De Niro in this film. I like the, even though, he didn't take long to film it, he doesn't have a whole lot of parts.
His presence was felt.
Yeah.
But, whenever he's, coming up with his stories, like, back whenever I grew up, you could get farther with a kind word and a gun versus just a kind word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, speak softly and carry a big stick.
Yeah. Sean Connery was great in this movie, too. The way he interrogated the... He used a dead body.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he shot the dead body to make it look like he actually killed a witness or something like that.
Blew his brains out right in front of him.
I'll talk. Don't let him near me. That was messed up.
Yeah. No, Connery is excellent in this, and it shows why he won an Oscar. And he, it's funny that there's things that I was watching that I felt like as much as the story is, the story of Eliot Ness and Al Capone wasn't really well known until the book of Eliot's memoirs came out in the late 50s, right after he died.
Yeah.
And, I think he died in 54, Eliot Ness, if I remember right, 54.
He was 50, years old.
Yeah, he died in 54, 55. And his book came out a couple years later. And Hollywood, of course, bought up the book, and they made the TV series. And he became more posthumously famous, after he died. And so I felt like in this movie, like Eliot is supposed to be the star, but it felt like Malone was the bigger star.
Yeah.
Like it felt like you cared more about Sean Connery's character, and when he died, you were really kind of like, wow.
He was a heart and soul kind of guy for that team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Salt of the earth.
Yes.
Yeah. He kept them together. He's the one that brought them all together because he goes to him, of course, when he runs into him out in the courtyard and he visits his home and he asks him to be part of this. At first he tells him no. Then they do the blood oath in the church and he agrees to it. So without Malone, maybe Eliot never gets his Untouchables together.
Yeah, yeah. And the real Eliot Ness, after the Prohibition thing ended, he went into a lot of debt.
Yeah.
A lot of personal issues.
Yeah, his life was not as happy as the movie made it out to be. He really only had...
He had 2 divorces.
Yeah, he had 2 divorces,
wow.
and he had a child from a previous marriage that wasn't his, and then an adopted child. So it made it seem happier in the movie.
Yeah.
He had...
died in poverty.
Yeah, he had money issues and stuff like that. And, some people believe that it was gambling, but it was never really proven or anything like that, you know. But, he wasn't as happy as it made out to be, But again, it's Hollywood. They're going to play up the drama and make nobody wants to see a bumbling down themselves cop that has a shitty life.
Right.
You especially in the '80s, you want that guy to be your hero. You wanted Kevin Costner to be your hero.
Yeah,
who's going to stop the bad guy of Al Capone?
Yeah, really. I mean, American movie audiences don't like bad endings.
No.
So in general, and I think that comes all the way back down to the Great Depression. When people had no money and they could only afford to watch a movie, and they do not want to leave a movie unhappy.
No.
Right. The only exception they'll make to that was Grapes of Wrath.
Oh yeah, Grapes of Wrath.
But I think nowadays we're getting more movies with less happy endings than we used to. You know?
Well,
but generally you're right. American audiences like happy endings. Yeah. And because when we do see a movie that doesn't have a happy ending, we get pissed. We're like, that sucks. Like what I mentioned. I made a joke about Ryan Gosling in one episode where I sat here and watched La La Land with my wife, and you get to the end of the movie, he doesn't even get the girl. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That's 2 hours for that? It pisses you off because you want that happy ending. And when you don't get the happy ending, you're like, well, God dang it,
Yeah, it's kind of like whenever you're in a massage parlor and you don't get your happy ending, it sucks.
What's the happy ending? Explain.
No, like an egg roll at the end.
Okay.
I wouldn't know. I've never gone to a massage parlor, so I wouldn't know. And I don't like people touching me anyway, so it's weird. Get your hand away.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, this is the first time I watched it from beginning to end personally this week.
Yeah.
And actually, I hate to say this, but I actually found this easier to watch than Flash Gordon. You know, because it just kept, you know, the pacing of this movie was just good.
Yeah.
You know.
I think my only beef with it is I noticed things compared to but it's also a technology thing. And this film was probably edited in summer of '86, late fall of '86, before it's released in '87. And I notice that now with older movies, sometimes the editing's it's paced really well, but like there's no the movie will jump scene to scene, and I think that's just technology thing.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when we watch a lot of these older movies now, like Escape from New York was like that. Like, there's no transitions. These movies sometimes just jump.
Yeah.
You know, Lucas, and a lot of people forget about that. Star Wars was one of the first movies that used like swipes and transitions to edit scenes to scenes. And other directors weren't adapting that yet, even as late as '87.
Yeah.
You know, James Cameron was. He had swipes and things in his screens, but it wasn't a common thing to be used. And now you go see a movie, and movies are edited a little bit better. It's better technology. And that's probably the only beef I had with this. I felt it was a trap of that 1980s style of filmmaking. But it is a really good film, and it makes a lot of lists of top 100 films you should see before you die.
What was that? What was the name of that hitman that killed Connery? Dingo?
Yeah. Well, was it? No, Nettles was the other guy. Yeah.
Nitty.
Yeah.
Played by Billy
I have to say that Nitty's death was the most satisfying death.
Yeah.
That in any movie.
But again, another one was historically inaccurate.
Yeah, I know. But
he
it's
ends
so
up committing
satisfying.
suicide years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still very satisfying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Death scene. You know.
Whenever I saw him, I was like, man, this guy looks familiar.
He's
He's just one of those character actors. He's been in a lot of films.
I could tell you that I remember him from a short-lived TV show starring Bruce Campbell, Briscoe County Jr.
Oh, I remember that.
The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., and he played the main nemesis of that character. And whenever he appeared on that show, it was a special occasion because he was one of the main villains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he played a bad guy in Charmed too. My wife loves Charmed, and I was scrolling through his photos, and I was like, "Holy crap, he was in Charmed. He was a phantom."
Yeah, I wonder what your wife thinks about the Charm reboot. I don't know if it's even out yet, but they're rebooting that show.
Oh, she was like, whenever she saw it, she's like, "It doesn't have the original 3 in there," and I was like, "No." She's like, "This is stupid."
Well, yeah.
And I'm like,
Rose McGowan's kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Richard Bradford. Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Over the years, the actor who played Duddy. But
he has an interesting look, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of those guys that like. I remember he played a lot of villains in movies because they had that kind of tough bad guy look, you know, things like that, you know. But yeah, overall, any favorite scenes in this movie for you guys?
Well, the death scene was satisfying because, you know, it was like Eliot Ness has always been straight-laced.
Yeah.
But Nitty kept pushing the guy's button, and then he said that wrong line about Malone, and then he got thrown off the side of the building, you know, because he thought that the eyes of justice were with him or something like that.
Yeah.
But they weren't.
I like the train scene.
The train?
Just... you know, unloading on everybody around him, and then you know the last of the lieutenants is trying to hold the bookie, you know, hostage, and he's like, "You got him." And Andy Garcia's character shoots him right in the head.
Yeah,
friggin' sharpshooter with a revolver, which is crazy.
Yeah,
that's probably one of my favorite scenes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the
train station.
Oh, okay, the train station scene. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's such an iconic scene.
The bridge scene is cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And one thing about the train station scene is like, I hadn't watched this movie in years, but I always remember that scene. Like, you always remember Malone being killed. I always remember the train station scene because it's such an iconic scene. And like you said, it's been spoofed in a couple of films over the years. And it's a really intense, good scene. And, you know, and what's funny is how good is Andy Garcia in this? This is like one of his early roles along with Kevin Costner. And he's with these two great actors in Sean Connery and Robert De Niro. But yet you see the greatness of Andy Garcia early on. You know this guy's going to be something. And he, of course, went on to have a really, really good career himself, you know. And he's very young. I almost didn't recognize him at first on the screen. I'm like, oh yeah, it's Andy Garcia. Because you're so used to him now playing these older, kind of tough guys. Than he plays. That's
cool.
Or a romantic lead or whatever Andy Garcia plays.
Romantic lead. He that link that I sent Shaw, did you get to look at?
I didn't have a chance.
Yeah, he's at the.
I saw it.
Yeah, he's at the AFI, the awards. It's American
Film Institute.
American Film Institute Awards, and he's giving a speech about Sean Connery, and he said that Sean Connery showed up in his golf clothes one day on the scene, and I know this is a fairly commonly known fact that Sean Connery showed up. And he says, they're like, Sean, what are you going to do in this scene? And he's like, I'm going to read the newspaper. And he's like, really? That's it? And so he says that, they dismissed Sean, and he was already in his golfing clothes, and he spends 5 hours golfing, and he comes back in his golfing clothes. And that's why you see him in kind of like that golfer's outfit. Yeah. And he's like, this is what we got to do. He's like, they pull a knife, you pull a gun. It's the Chicago way. And then that's the scene. And he pulls him aside, and he's like, Andy Garcia's like, that must be nice. You show up for 5 minutes, and your work's done. And you spent 5 hours golfing. He's like, this isn't my first barbecue. And then there was another scene, the telephone scene. So whenever he calls Andy's character, and he tells him, hey, tell Ness to meet me, he says at first he just answers the phone, and his back is facing the camera. And so they're getting on to him. DePalma's getting on and was like, cut, Andy. What are you doing? We can't see you. He's like, well, my character doesn't know there's a camera back there. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to turn. He's like, I look over, and Sean Connery's just shaking his head. And then, so he does it again. Yeah, that's what he says. Yeah, because he messes up again. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to turn a little bit. Same thing. Cut. And he's like, okay. So then he turns. He gets it right. And he's like, it's not Hamlet. Yes.
This is not Hamlet, or you're dumb, or something like that.
Oh yeah, he's like, maybe it's a shortcoming on your part.
That sounds that's pretty funny. You imagine the things that happen when these great actors like this get together on sets of these movies.
Andy said that there was a few other things that Sean said, but he couldn't disclose them to maintain his reputation, as a stand-up guy.
There's a casual James Bond reference in this movie, too, when he names his kid John James.
Oh.
And apparently, if you look really closely, Connery kind of smirks or something at Eliot Ness whenever he says it, and it's like a small reference to
really?
Connery playing James Bond, kind of an in-joke that they threw into the movie. This is a really good movie, though. I think it holds up really well today. I mean, it's almost, 30 years? 87? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 40? No, 30 years, yeah.
30.
Yeah, I'm going to age myself there. But, and if Hollywood was to remake this today, they would probably... I was watching sometimes I think about that. I would imagine they would do it like the Magnificent Seven remake they did, where they would up the action. They would get, the current hot actors, Chris Hemsworth or somebody like that, to play Eliot Ness, and they would want it more kinetically fast. They would want it quicker paced.
Do you remember the UPN TV series?
Yeah, that was short-lived. Yeah.
It was only... I think it ran the course it needed to be.
Yeah.
It wasn't canceled.
3 seasons?
Yeah. 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, they would do something like that. A sequel almost got made to this, but it was going to be like a sequel prequel, where they were going to talk about the rise of Al Capone, but it never got made, and it got turned into like a TV movie instead.
It was gonna star Nicolas Cage as Al Capone.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could see Cage being Capone.
Well, Cage and Brian De Palma and Nicolas Cage did a couple of movies together, if I remember right. I know they did Snake Eyes and something else. They were kind of buddies.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes actually is arguably a good movie.
Yeah. They touched up on Capone and in the modern era of television, Boardwalk Empire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a
that's right.
There's a supporting character that's young Al Capone.
Yeah.
And you guys seen Peaky Blinders?
No, but I've heard about it.
Oh, it's a great show about the organized crime in England.
Yeah.
But supposedly the next season they're going to bring in that same actor who did Boardwalk Empire to play Al Capone in Peaky Blinders. So a little Al Capone related.
Yeah. But before we talk about some of our favorite crime movies, any final thoughts on The Untouchables?
No. Really good film. Still enjoyed it. In fact, I bought it because it was on sale on Vudu for like $6. And I was like, $6 for HDX? That's not bad.
Yeah. fantastic movie. I'm glad I watched this week.
It's a good pick. This you kind of brought this to my attention. We were talking about doing some crime movies, and I was like, man, we haven't watched that in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of your pick, Matt. It was a good pick.
It kind of was.
Pick.
Yeah. And but
here's candy for you.
So it's got me thinking, man. Crime movies. We talked about when we did Mission Impossible a couple weeks ago. Spy movies are still relevant. And sometimes the same can be asked for crime movies too. How many different crime movies can you do with someone robbing a bank or robbing a train or doing this or that? But it's a good genre, and I think it's still relevant because you go down your TV, you're looking at your guide on television. You have all these true crime shows. We're podcasters. True crime podcasts are huge. People love this stuff. So I think that these are still relevant. But what are some of your favorite crime movies y'all have ever watched? We can maybe each pick one or two and talk about it a little bit. Whoever wants to start. What's one of your favorite crime movies?
I want to make a honorable mention to a favorite crime character, Tony Soprano.
There we go.
That's a fantastic, complex lead actor. I've never seen a TV show carried by one actor in my life like that. I mean, James Gandolfini was a tour de force, and he said that he dove deep and he hated doing some of the darker scenes in that, because he just hated it. He had nightmares sometimes doing those scenes in The Sopranos. One of my favorite crime TV shows of all time. And then movies, I have a top three. I'll just go by them quick. Godfather, the original one. I like that more than part two. The whole family and the crimes and surrounding the family.
That the pull the trigger, drop the gun, walk away?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Hide the gun. Bring the cannoli.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Goodfellas and Casino.
Oh yeah, Casino.
And Heat. But I prefer Casino over Goodfellas for some reason. It didn't have a plot like Goodfellas did, but I don't know. I just for some reason I liked the character that Robert De Niro played. He was OCD.
Yeah,
he was a good handicapper. But it's a great show. The soundtrack to Casino was great too. Yeah. James Woods was interesting in that movie as well. Sharon Stone. Oh yeah, she won an Oscar for that movie.
Yeah.
Your mom was walking around flashing her stuff like she was Sharon Stone.
Yeah.
And she was no Sharon Stone.
Yeah. But
Name that movie.
Yeah, Heat with Pacino and
that's right, Heat.
And Pacino and De Niro. Great movie.
Yes.
That's right. Heat is a movie I could see us covering one day. And when I first saw Heat, I didn't like it that much. Like I just felt it was long and overblown, and I was just like, it was just too much. There was too many characters, and I really walked out of the theater Heat just not liking it.
Yeah.
And then I rediscovered it and realized how good it is. But upon first viewing, Heat's a lot to take in. Mm-hmm. The gunfight's spectacular.
Yeah.
Or the bank robbery scene. But the movie itself, I just felt was overblown and too much until I had to rewatch it years later and appreciated it more.
Yeah.
Than the first time I viewed it. Goodfellas is definitely one I like a lot. It's one of my favorites. Ray Liotta, it's still his character in that is just unbelievably, you feel for, you hate him. He's one character you hate, you love, and you root for all at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just how his character is. I have a couple more, but Matt, you might be picking some of the same ones we're picking.
I wanted to go different because I didn't want it to be the same all the way around. So I stuck with newer, so stuff that I grew up, kind of watching, getting into. So I'm going to go with Training Day.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke, Denzel Washington.
Corruption.
Corruption. And he gets what's coming to him at the end.
Yeah.
Really good.
I'm King Kong.
I'm King Kong.
Thank God Frank's not here because he would go off when he thinks, man, Denzel's done so many other good movies. He wins a movie for saying I'm King Kong. Frank goes off for that movie every time we talk about it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to have to bring that up.
Sometimes you win Oscars for career work. Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. So, it happens. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, so, I mean, Ethan Hawke, he wants to learn narcotics, and, he gets, stuck with Denzel, learning the streets. It turns out Denzel's crooked as heck. and he finds out about it, and he's a little square for Denzel, and Denzel, he confronts Denzel, and they have a shootout, and it ends in the street, and these guys that have been paid off, they come back, and they're tired of Denzel's shit, and they kill him.
Yeah. No, he owed Russian mob money.
Yeah. He owed what, $4 million, and he was going to steal it from his old mentor.
Yeah.
And
the Russian mob came after him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gosh, I want to add to a more modern list. Public Enemies with Christian Bale.
Oh yeah.
And Christian Bale and Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that was a good Michael Mann movie. Yeah. It was good. Not great.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it. Like, it was okay.
Yeah.
It could have been better, I felt like. Yeah.
And I'll also go 3:10 to Yuma with Russell Crowe.
Is that really a crime movie, though?
It is a crime. It's about bringing...
I still have that movie in my library, but I've never watched it.
Bringing the fastest straw in the West to justice.
Yeah.
It's a Western, but it's a crime
No,
movie.
I know it's a Western, but it kind of seems like it sits outside the crime genre a little bit.
IMDb classifies it as a crime movie.
How about Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
I mean, technically it's a crime movie.
Yeah.
Green Mile,
they,
I think.
They ride around with...
Green Mile's a story about criminals, though, but there's no crime in the film. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a prison.
It's got to be a crime. See, to me, a crime movie is there's crime in the film. There's mobsters, there's drugs loitering. You know what I mean? That's just me.
Have you seen Bonnie and Clyde, the original one with Warren Beatty? And,
a long time ago.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a little bit not. I would say Reservoir Dogs.
Nice.
It's funny. It's a crime movie. You never see the crime happen. You see the aftermath of the crime.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's so well acted. You feel like you watch the crime whenever you watch it because of the way the actors talk about it. And it was I strangely saw that before I saw Pulp Fiction. So a lot of people's introduction to Quentin Tarantino was Pulp Fiction. For me, I had seen Reservoir Dogs and it blew me away. And it's still my favorite Tarantino film to this day. I'm a big fan of The Departed, man. I really thought it was really great. I had seen the Asian film Infernal Affairs it was based on, and I went and saw The Departed, and I know a lot of people felt that it wasn't Scorsese's best and it wasn't Oscar worthy, but I really thought The Departed was a really, really good movie.
That's a top 5 crime movie.
Oh, it's still one of my favorite Scorsese films. I think The Departed is fantastic.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to The Irishman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Goodfellas, which we talked a little bit about, is, Goodfellas was something I watched in high school because that's about when it came out. And it was, it might be one of the first real crime movies I remember watching, being in high school. And one that, people don't talk about as much anymore because of the controversies with Kevin Spacey and now Bryan Singer, because of his accusations on him. But The Usual Suspects, man, it's a really, really good movie. I've never seen that movie. It's a really, really good movie.
Yeah. I saw 7 instead.
Yeah, 7.
And
that's another good crime movie.
And Usual Suspects is fantastic. And unfortunately, people don't talk about it as much, like I said, because of Kevin Spacey and everything that's been going on with him. But it's a shame because it's a really well done film. Mm-hmm. It was one of the first movies I ever saw Benicio del Toro in, who has gone on to be a wonderful actor.
Speaking about Benicio del Toro, honorable mentions Sicario.
I found Sicario boring.
What?
Man, I watched it. Me and Mary both found it. I made it through the whole thing, but I just found
I've never seen it.
It's so slow.
It's good.
No.
It's good. It's a slow burn, though.
The Punisher tries to get it on with Emily Blunt, and she's not having it.
Is it as slow as Blade Runner?
I think
it's around that level. Yeah,
really. Yeah.
It's just slow, and then and it's so slow, and the payoff at the end of the film was like, that's it.
Yeah.
And I've heard the sequel is paced better. I've read that. I haven't watched the sequel yet, but and it's well acted. Josh Brolin, everyone that's in Sicario, it is well acted. I just felt like it was just so slow. Yeah. It was hard to get into.
There's a white collar crime movie, The Big Short.
Oh yeah,
Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can is actually a really good underrated Steven Spielberg movie. No one talks about.
Is that a caper movie?
Yeah, it's more of a caper, but it's still crime. But man, that's might be one of Leo's best things he's done, and no one ever talks about Catch Me If You Can. But it's really good.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Good call, Garth. Yeah. Two Wayne's Worlds in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Good call.
And
good.
But yeah.
Road to Perdition.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that one a few years ago. Tom Hanks and Paul Newman and Daniel Craig.
It's a really well acted film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks, I'll tell you one thing.
I love the cinematography.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks really good.
A lot of rain, and the shots in the rain are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good looking film.
You know what Perdition is, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like Purgatory.
It's hell.
Oh, is it?
The road to hell.
Oh, I thought it's like...
Yeah, it's based on a graphic novel.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought Perdition's like hell light. You still have a chance to get out of it.
Oh, you know, there's like multiple definitions. It's
Yeah.
like purgatory or
Yeah.
the first circle of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's all I got on crime movies.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we covered some good ones, man.
Yeah, we have.
Some possible future episodes.
Oh, definitely.
On the Rebel Radio podcast. So let's get some news out of the way for the day, for the week. It's been kind of slow, man. It's the beginning of the year, man. Hollywood, and would they get like a month's vacation? They need to get to it and give us some news. We're back at work already. They need to go back to work.
That's right.
But Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse won the Golden Globe for Best Animated Film.
Yes.
Man, and well-deserved, man. It's a really good movie. I know you guys haven't watched it yet. It makes you wonder if it has the edge now for the Oscar. I know people don't always take the Golden Globes with a grain of salt because it's European press voting for those. But I hope it does because it's my number one movie I've seen in 2018. I loved every second of it. I can't wait till you guys see it, man, because you're going to realize what a love letter it is to Spider-Man and Marvel Comics once you see it and see what I saw in it.
Yeah. The only reason why I didn't watch it is because I didn't want to sit in a theater full of kids.
Strangely, when I saw it, was a lot of adults.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
You just never
probably
know
wait.
whenever you get these movies. It could be all adults. It could be adults and kids.
The turnaround on rentals is
It's 3 months, 4 at the most now.
yeah, 60 days even.
Yeah, it's quick.
Yeah, I'll probably wait till I can rent it to watch it.
Yeah, because I mean, Venom was October and it came out early December on video. It's like it's crazy.
I'm
man.
glad the Spider-Gwen's in it. I love that character design. I do have some of the first run comics of Spider-Gwen, now Spider-Ghost.
Yeah, such a good movie. I'm telling you guys, you'll be excited when you see it.
Gwenpool.
Well, there's Gwen. There's anher character named Gwenpool.
Yeah,
but not Gwen Stacy.
No.
Yeah, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
Disney Plus, man, news keeps leaking out about it. There's they announced showrunners for the Scarlet Vision and Scarlet Witch and Vision series. I said Scarlet Vision, and then a lot of rumors that there's going to be a Lady Sith series too.
I saw that.
They're not going to burn it out, are they? Y'all don't think? You think there's enough people want this stuff, right?
That's the thing. If the content is good and compelling, they'll flock to it. If you build it, they will come.
That's true. That's how I feel about it too. I think that
tie it back to Kevin
Costner. Yeah.
We mentioned Spielberg and Catch Me If You Can, and a couple of years ago he'd said, "Oh, superhero movies are going to go the way of the Western; they'll go away." And I have to disagree with him, man. I think these characters, because they've been around since the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, that they've stood the test of time already. And if the content continues to be good and continues to be quality, I think 20, 30 years from now, comic book movies are still going to be coming out in theaters every year. Yeah. I don't see this genre dying anytime soon. Just when you think there's going to be a movie that might not be as big of a hit, it ends up being a hit.
Yeah, Aquaman.
Yeah, it's just I don't see this genre going anywhere. There's enough characters and stories to be told for years to come.
Yeah, Aquaman is a surprise hit.
Yeah,
surpassed Wonder Woman. Now it's made $1 billion.
I think if anything, when it comes to the TV end of things, like with Disney Plus, I think if anything, it's too many streaming services and too much streaming TV to watch to keep up with.
Yeah,
I think that's where they can hurt themselves the most. Not necessarily the genre itself, just too much content out there to watch.
There is, honestly, yeah. They haven't started shooting yet?
Not yet. Now they brought in more writers, which isn't uncommon. The people who wrote Men in Black International have been brought in to do some script writes. That doesn't necessarily mean the script's starting over. This isn't uncommon for a film to have several writers work on it. This movie has been trying to be remade as early as like 2002. We just talked Mission Impossible a couple weeks ago. John Woo was going to make Master of the Universe back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It seems just like the ultimate development hell on this remake of Master of the Universe for many years. And it's to the point where, like, I want it and I don't want it.
What studio's in charge of it?
Oh, it's been keeps getting thrown around. I can't remember who has the rights now currently. You know, Sony had it, then Paramount had it, and then the rights kept getting tossed around. That's been part of the problem too. I love He-Man. I love the character. Friend of the show, Justin Corbett. He's a big He-Man fan, and I'm sure he would love to see a great live-action film. And the characters are really cool, and it can be done well if it's done right. I don't know. I have no idea who would play He-Man nowadays, and don't say Chris Hemsworth, man, or I'll punch you.
Did you see She-Ra reboot?
No, but I heard it's good.
Yeah.
But it's geared more towards girls, I would think.
Yeah.
So
it's not our demographic,
but
age demographic at least.
But it's one of those '80s properties that is close to a lot of people. We just talked Bumblebee earlier in the show. So if you're going to do Master of the Universe, you got to do it right. You got to bring it to the big screen.
I don't know. It's like, has there been any TV presence on it since the 80s?
Well, the early 2000s remake, the Master of the Universe, which is actually really good. That one.
Yeah.
But yeah, there hasn't been any for a long time. I know. They did a He-Man episode on the toys that made us, and I think He-Man's still around and relevant today. I think people know who it is, but yeah, as far as the new generation, they don't know unless they learn from us.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I hope it gets made. I do, and I hope it's good. And maybe you can play He-Man, Matt. You better start bulking up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just do what Stallone did whenever he found out.
Get your swole on.
Yeah, just take a bunch of D-ball. There we go.
We were talking pre-show about Star Wars Resistance. I haven't kept up with this as much as I did Rebels. It just got renewed for a season 2, and I guess the mid-season premiere trailer just came out. Have you watched any Resistance yet?
I have not watched any.
I've watched a few episodes. It's definitely more kid-friendly. It's not as universally Star Wars as... Wait, that doesn't make sense. Like, Rebels is very grounded in the Star Wars universe. It takes place as a prequel to... This is in the Star Wars universe, but it also feels like it's not as connected. Phasma makes an appearance in it and a few things like that, but it just doesn't... You don't feel like it's connected to Star Wars as much as you did with Rebels.
Forces of Destiny shorts that they had.
But, hey, I guess more Star Wars is better. Like more Marvel content. Yeah. I know you had some news about some Star Trek news.
Yeah. Star Trek is supposedly canceled. This is based
Star Trek 4.
Star Trek 4.
Not the TV shows. People don't freak out. Discovery's still going.
Discovery's, I think, debuting this week, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I saw a commercial the other day.
And I'll subscribe to it once they do the full run. I'm not doing it.
That's kind of how I felt about it. Yeah. Binge it later on. Yeah.
I'll binge it later on. So, anyways, I was pretty miffed about Star Trek 4 being canceled. So I tweeted to Paramount Pictures. And I said, hey, at Paramount Pictures, which you could follow on Discozilla, Evil Dr. Tran, but this is what I tweeted. Hey, at Paramount Pictures, canceling Star Trek 4 is more evidence that you will always be a B player in Hollywood. You can't make good movies, and when you do, you don't know how to market them correctly. You're past your prime, and you should sell to Disney. At Sony Pictures, at Universal Pictures, just stop already.
Wow. Ripped into him.
Jeez, man.
Dude, don't mess with Evil Dr. Tran.
It's like Star Trek Beyond was a great movie. I felt it was a great movie. It was a great Star Trek movie. There was a scene in there that actually brought me to tears when young Kirk got the photos of the old original cast,
right?
From Star Trek 6, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
And Kirk was like, he wasn't like a frat boy or anything. Right. He was captain. He was captaining the whole thing, like he should. He was classic Captain Kirk, and but Beyond was poorly marketed.
Yeah.
They waited a month before the movie came out to start pushing the trailers
I remember that.
out. And people were pissed. It was the 50th anniversary too.
Yeah.
60th anniversary. And they squandered it. It's stupid Paramount.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't feel as strongly about Beyond as you do. I do think it was a good movie. But I did feel like it was I think
formulaic.
And Idris Elba being under makeup was wasted because he's such a good actor. I felt like they could have done more with it. It was a little formulaic, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did Trek Into Darkness. But I did like it. I didn't hate it. I was the same way. I remember it coming out and the marketing just not being there for it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And this cast, this new cast that J.J. Abrams put together when he first rebooted is so good.
Yeah.
That I want to see more. It's also, I also wonder if they weren't sure what to do with the young man who passed away, who played Chekhov.
Anton Yelchin.
Anton, I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah.
So maybe they weren't sure, but you could easily play that off, I think.
And that's right. And Chris Pine said that he wasn't returning to the role.
Yeah. And it's a shame. Hopefully, maybe cooler heads prevail eventually. And Paramount had the same problem after William Shatner. Everyone got too old. They didn't know what to do with Star Trek, especially after the Generations movies. And they finally, J.J. Abrams, his company, were able to come in and reboot it. And hopefully, we don't go through that long stretch again. Or maybe they're just more focused on the TV with Discovery and the new Picard series that they're working on.
That's a complicated issue because Paramount and CBS aren't really eye to eye.
Yeah.
Even though they're under the Viacom umbrella, they're like kind of big rivals in a way within that company, and they won't share Star Trek TV property with the movie property. It's just so complicated.
Yeah, I remember back in the day they had a whole idea about a Starfleet television series that was going to tie in with the movies, and Paramount fought against it. And
the freaking lawyers, the Star Trek lawyers are like putting a heavy regulation on the Star Trek fan films and stuff like that too. So I mean, you don't get that from Star Wars.
No,
they're not putting the boots to the like a freaking
fan-made movie.
Yeah, they're like trying to kill the fandom. It felt like.
Did you see that Darth Vader fan film that's been going around? That just came out.
I heard about it.
It's really good for a fan film. Even I'm like, it's only part one, and then I follow the guy on Twitter, and man, I think it's Star Wars Theory is his Twitter, and it was Vader something in the name of it. It's really impressive for a.
What's it called again?
Vader something, man. Let me look it up, man. You're gonna put me on the spot here, man.
Yeah.
And
Vader fan film on YouTube. I know what you're talking about. I think the basic plot was Vader finding a new apprentice, maybe, was it? I don't know. I can't recall.
Vader Shards of the Past.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
You know what Vader means in German?
What?
Father.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, his name is literally Darth Father.
Huh.
The clue was there the entire time, but we didn't look at it.
Interesting.
I knew that.
It's
old school Star Wars.
Yeah, of course he knew it after I told him.
I didn't. Because I'm a Trekkie.
You're a Trek.
Fucking Trekkies.
Picard or Kirk? Kirk or Picard?
Yeah. Cisco. Yeah.
I knew he was going to say. That's like, who the hell is Cisco?
Cisco. Because he's black? No, I'm joking. No.
He was at Comic Palooza this past year.
For the wisdom, Picard. For the action, Kirk.
Okay.
The
action, good? Yeah.
The only problem that I have, I'm not as big of a Trek fan as you are, but there was a time where I watched a lot of it, and my dad was real into it, and I watched all of Deep Space Nine. It's probably the only Star Trek show I watched every season of.
Deep Space Nine is so good.
No, I want to say I did watch all of Enterprise. I did watch, because I love Scott Bakula, so I did watch all of that. And they had this whole idea, again, this is Paramount, where there was going to be a Next Generation Deep Space Nine movie, and we were going to find out what happened to Cisco, because he disappears at the end of the show. You never find out what happened. And Paramount scrapped the whole thing because they didn't want to pay all these actors to do it. They didn't want to pay Picard, and I can't think of that guy who plays Cisco. And basically, it came down to money to not do it. So we never know. Cisco's still out there in space somewhere,
floating around.
Yeah, we never found out what happened to Cisco thanks to Paramount not wanting to pay actors.
That was on Twitter.
That was one of the reasons the Abrams reboot happened too, because they didn't. Yeah.
He's pulling
at 12.
There's a disturbance in the Twitter sphere.
So to this day, we don't know what happened to Cisco.
With my 80 bots and my 4 real followers.
Yes, bots. Yeah. Retweet this. Retweet that.
Yeah, I know.
For more followers.
I know.
And 2 of your real followers are right here in the room.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But all right. Well, any more news? That was all I had. I know, Long, you bring some news. That was it. Just Star Trek. I just want to make sure before we preview next week's movie. So we are going to do we did a crime movie today. It's kind of not really a dark film, but we're going to go pretty dark next week with a very adult fairy tale. We're going to talk Guillermo del Toro's masterpiece, Pan's Labyrinth.
In a dark time, when hope was bleak, there lived a young girl whose only escape was in a legend that wanted her back. The legend speaks of the lost soul of a princess from another world who will one day be reborn. There will be signs that mark her return. There will be secrets that reveal her destiny. There will be a journey that will make you believe. Imagination of Guillermo del Toro. In darkness, there can be light. In misery, there can be beauty. In death, there can be life. Labyrinth.
You know, this movie, man, I saw this in theaters, and it's so good. You said you've had it on your DVD shelf for 10 years. I haven't watched it, man.
No.
You know, it's all in Spanish. For those,
don't spoil it.
For those playing along at home, it's on Netflix right now, so watch it before next week. I know Guillermo del Toro won the Oscar last year for The Shape of Water, which is a fantastic film, but this might be the best movie he's ever made. This was back when this came out in 2007, I believe it was. It was my number one movie that year. Mm-hmm. It's a really good film. I haven't watched it in a few years, so I'm looking forward to watching it again. Any preview thoughts from you, Matt? You've seen it before, right?
I have.
Yeah.
I have. Really good. I mean, very good costume acting.
An amazing villain in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's... You just have to... Pan's Labyrinth is one of those movies you don't watch, you experience.
Hey, if a movie has Labyrinth in the title, it must be good.
Yeah. But again, it's not a movie you watch, it's a movie you experience.
Yes.
I would... sometimes a movie is an experience, and Pan's Labyrinth is definitely that. So watch it at home on Netflix, people, and come back next week and listen to us rant and rave and wax poetic about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And argue. No.
And argue.
No.
Yeah. No, I think you're in for a treat, man. I think you'll...
I'm looking forward to it. Finally a reason to watch it.
Yeah. It's a good one. So it should be fun to watch. And that's all I've got.
That's all I've got.
So, as always, follow us on Twitter at Rebel Radio Pod. Make sure you go to rebelradiopodcast.com for all episodes. T-shirts for sale there. Donate to PayPal if you want.
Yeah.
Hey, why not? And
a sticker.
Yeah. Donate to PayPal. I said anybody buys a shirt, I'm going to send them a sticker too. So because the shirt, we don't have the shirts in hand. They're print by order. So if you print a shirt and I get an email with your little address, I will send you a sticker.
Yes.
So a bonus sticker for buying a shirt. That's not much of a bonus, but hey, we're trying. We're trying.
And we'll post a picture of you in the shirt too.
Yeah.
And social media on Facebook.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook at the Rebel Radio Podcast. We're on Instagram at the Rebel Radio Podcast. We're everywhere. We're taking over the world. Not really. But we're trying.
Yes.
But we do thank you as always for listening. And anybody that listens on WBLZ Media .com at Ironiq Radio, you can find the show there on Wednesdays at 2:00. With new episodes, and I think they play us other times throughout the week. I'm not sure of our schedule in there, but we're proud to be on that network of shows with at WBLZmedia.com, and we're still in the Tangent Bound network, even though the website seems like it's under construction forever. I don't know if we're ever going to get our link back up on that network.
Follow us on Facebook. That's the best way to keep updated.
And Twitter.
Yep, we're on Plenty of Fish and
Tinder.
No, I'm on Plenty of Fish. You two mofos are married. No, I'm joking.
But until next time, this has been Mark.
This has been Nat.
This is Evil Dr. Tran.
And thank you as always for listening. And remember, just go there and do it.
Do we?
This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Man. I love Houston. I love podcasting. But what I really love is the Rebel Radio podcast.